watch YouTube, find me through Facebook. And, right. Wait, is that Stefan?
Hello.
Hey, Stefan.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing? Okay, so it worked.
I just need to mute something 1 sec.
Okay.
Right, there we go. That was your video that I was just watching.
Okay, cool. Right. Where to begin? I first thought of having a stream with you after you were having all your problems with like when you went vegan and everything, and like what things we can think of that would possibly contribute to it. And I have some ideas, but what do you think? Tell me more about like your what you're struggling with right now, your symptoms, and like how your eating habits are and everything, just so I can like.
Yeah. I guess overall, I mean, I've been feeling a bit better here and there. The sleep thing is still a problem for me, meaning that I know I should go to bed earlier, but I just don't seem to do it every single night. It just gets to half time. I'm like, I'll go to bed soon. Just need to watch one more video and then 5 more after that. But yeah, obviously when I made the video about veganism not working for me, which I've then gone back against, I was mainly having like bloating, gas, which I guess if you are bloated, it's because of gas. So the same thing.
Yeah. Did you see my stomach in the transformation video?
I think so, yeah. I watched the video at the time.
I used to get bloated if I drank water.
Really?
It got that bad. I would bloat no matter what I had.
I saw a video recently, actually, talking about adrenal fatigue, and the guy mentioned bloating, which I hadn't really heard linked to it before. So was that linked to your issues? Was that just something you had?
Like people, I think that any symptom can kind of be linked to any kind of like illness almost. Like at the end of the day, what is chronic illness or what is feeling atrocious? It's just your body deteriorating. Like, and it will affect everyone differently. Like, for example, for some people, it might be heart. Like, when I was really chronically ill, I used to get almost heart attacks. Like, I would be that scared. Like, my heart was really hurting. And my granddad died of a heart attack. So maybe I had some form of like predisposition to heart problems or something. I don't know. I think everyone can have different symptoms to a same kind of deterioration of health. So I try not to worry too much about trying to link things, because if you link adrenal fatigue to bloating, what has it changed really?
Yeah. Did you find that because my granddad and his dad also died of a heart attack, so it'll probably happen to my dad and maybe me as well, depending if diet makes much of a difference. But did you find like now do you get bloated, or did you find there were certain triggers with what you were eating?
Okay, so for me, what I'll quickly say is when I had all those like heart pains and everything, I was eating like 40, 50 eggs a week, smothering everything in full fat butter, raw butter as well. And I never have had that heart pain since I went vegan. Also with the bloating thing, I did notice some triggers, like especially like things like smoothies, things that you consume quite quickly that you wouldn't normally consume. But I will say this is how much probiotics helped my stomach. I don't know whether you've ever taken them.
I've got some now. I mean, I don't know. Did you buy like any fancy ones or just
most of them are bullshit. I'm sure most of them are bullshit and dead before you even have them. For me, the cheapest one was the best one, and that was water kefir, which is something you just grow at home, and it's like a probiotic like beverage that you create at home, and it's insanely cheap. And basically what you do is you feed these kefir grains sugar and minerals, and they eat that sugar and in turn put probiotics and other things into the water. I'm sure this is true, but including B12, because back when I was having like a liter of kefir a day, my B12 levels were out the national average. They were like 1,000 something. Now they've been declining year after year, and I've stopped having kefir.
How do you make kefir then? Like, how does that work?
So you buy grains from Amazon or eBay or anywhere for like $5, and basically what you do is you put them in filtered water, add some sugar, tiny bit of like sea salt for minerals, maybe a tiny bit of blackstrap molasses, and maybe a fig or something. and you leave it for 2 or 3 days, and basically it ferments and it eats up the sugar that you've put in there, and in turn it just fills the water with like probiotics, other minerals and things like that. And I used to consume that stuff all day. Never had bloating again after it. Never.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that may be something you want to look at. You know, have you ever been through a phase where you did take antibiotics in the past?
Well, before I took Accutane, as you know, I actually did a short course of antibiotics, but I used to have a difficulty like swallowing the tablets. So then they kind of bypassed me through antibiotics. I don't remember if I took them very long, but in memory, I think it was only a few weeks. So I don't think I've ever had a long course of them myself. But I understand that can be a problem for a lot of people.
Yeah. So I think that when it comes to like probiotics and stuff, it's not going to kill you. Like, it's something worth trying. Also, like with your sleep, you say that you don't do it consistently and you always get to 10:30 and you want to watch more videos.
Yeah.
You would be so surprised at how much of an impact that plays on how you feel.
I know.
Like,
I mean, when you mentioned,
it's huge.
Yeah, when you mentioned Sean Stevenson, I'd already been listening to him as well at that point. I just found his podcast, and it's really good, obviously. And he's just on the ball every time that he does a podcast. He's just like constantly high energy, enthusiastic, and he just seems like a really healthy person.
Yeah, and
he's not like vegan.
Yeah,
which
exactly. Like this,
healthy,
this is what I try and tell people. Like, everyone has a different route. I don't tell you that for health reasons that if I consumed meat each week, I wouldn't have recovered. I probably would have. That's why I don't say to people that I probably wouldn't recover if I had eaten meat, because I don't know that, because I never did that.
You tried to eat meat for the first time, I heard, though, when you were on Vegan Revolution.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I did. I went because I was so desperate. My life was just shit. It was going nowhere. And I was like, you know what? Maybe vegetarianism and veganism is just one giant experiment and you're missing some minerals they don't even know yet.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit. I got organic grass-fed beef, which was like 20 quid for like 2 steaks. And then I had like it fried in full fat butter, and then I had my eggs, and then I had my fish, I had chicken. I did it all in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I was like,
from an ethical point of view, then, because I know that you do care about the vegan cover reason as well. What was that like, eating a steak? Was it weird?
It was weird. It was because I hadn't eaten meat in my entire life.
Yeah.
And I had it, and it's very insane how quickly you can rationalize it. You know, it's almost like you fall into everyone's doing it kind of thing. Like, maybe it is normal. Maybe we do need meat. Like, as much as I hate how it happens, maybe this is what I need to do to recover. And at that point, it was like, I don't give a shit if I die tomorrow. So why am I going to care if I eat this steak right now? So I just sucked it up and ate it. And then after like a week or 2, I was just like, it just doesn't feel like this is the answer. It just doesn't feel like this is necessary. You know, I'm looking at all these people on YouTube that have recovered vegan diets, you know, from even more extreme things like cancer. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should give it another chance. Maybe I'm just being a pussy and trying to look for one reason why I need this one thing to recover. So that's when I was like, right, I went from vegetarian, meat eater to vegan. And then I started realizing, you know what? I'm expecting too much from single changes in my life. I'm expecting to undo the damage I've done and the years I've spent in misery and my body deteriorating in like a few weeks, months. I was expecting so much.
I know, right? Yeah. Also,
go on.
Yeah, there's this guy that I've watched. I don't know if you would have seen the channel. I can't actually remember what it's called right now, but this guy who I ended up speaking to, who was all about like the hair mineral analysis test, which I did at one point. And still trying to remember what the channel's called. I don't know. But he took Accutane and he said that, well, he quotes this guy called James Wilson, not the adrenal fatigue James Wilson.
Oh, right, okay.
This other one who actually does speak about adrenal fatigue, but he's all about the hair mineral analysis test. And he pretty much put across to me that it's vital to eat, you know, lots of meat and dairy. even dairy, I think he was like saying. And after a while, I just questioned it. I was like, it just doesn't make sense. Like,
yeah.
when you see a cow being
Why would
torn
we
in
need
half.
cow milk to get better? It's like, I just started thinking about it. Why do I need a chicken to get better? I don't get it. Like, if I
Yeah.
can get it elsewhere, what's going on? When I accepted my situation, I accepted that maybe I'm not going to be able to exercise how I want for another year or two, but at least I'm moving in the right direction. And I was like, right, I'm not going to expect too much. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm not going to whine. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to make sure it's my job to recover and do everything I can that's positive. And then I just kind of accepted how I was feeling, and then adding a new thing every few weeks that I've discovered and just trying it out and adding them one on top of the other. And that's when I started to see the changes. When I was stuck in the mindset of going, right, I'm feeling this way, what can I do to correct it? So people usually go to modern medicine and go, right, I need to take this pill to recover. And they go to the natural side and look for the same thing, just packaged in like a natural thing, like a package, like either a supplement or a product, like saying you need meat. But at the end of the day, what changed it for me was consistency, changing everything, and being patient.
What's the situation for you now in terms of what time do you go to bed? Do you slip up with that? Do you have bad days?
I do slip up with that, and I do feel noticeably like I'm not as enthusiastic. I'm not as energetic when I wake up. It takes me longer to get out of bed. Like, I'm not like chronically ill anymore. I can still go for a run or a bike ride and get it off. But if I go to bed early, I feel so much better. So I do slip up now and again. I can afford to do that now because the burden upon my body isn't what it used to be. I've got to a point where most of the things I'm doing in my life are not hindering my body. So a slip up now and again isn't a big deal. But when I was recovering, when I had all that burden on my body, the slip ups really did hurt. So I think you have to be more strict the iller you are.
Recover. I think as well, when I made that video and it went and got 70,000 views in weeks, which I just didn't think was going to happen. So I didn't really think through what I was saying and what message I'd be putting across. But I was obviously like wrong. Like, I've noticed that if I'm stressed or anxious, like, you hold more tension in your stomach, which leads to bloating and constipation and stuff.
I will say this is, if you have sleep problems or adrenal fatigue or anything like that, when you're in that fight or flight mode, your blood pulls into your arms and legs, which makes sense because it's fight or flight. You know, you're either going to run away or you're going to fight something. And when you're stuck in that point, your blood pulls away from your stomach where it should be digesting the food to your limbs. So you could think I'm getting IBS from the food I'm eating, but it could be you're stressed and the blood isn't where it should be digesting that food. And maybe particularly the food that you're having requires more blood to digest it, or something like that. You know, it could be anything.
I get this weird symptom that I probably shouldn't even say out loud, but I don't care because I've just drank some alcohol. So I googled it. I think it happens, but I've been doing some weightlifting, and that's something that's obviously kind of putting your body under stress and taking blood from certain places and putting it elsewhere. When I'm doing that, like, my wiener will shrivel up. Like, it's weird. Like I'm in a cold shower. Mate, I don't know if that's normal.
If you saw my dick after I did that bike ride,
it
was that's just what happens. You know, you're doing vigorous exercise or whatever. Your blood is your blood doesn't want to make sure that your dick still looks nice.
And the thing is,
it's going to where it needs to be.
No one would admit to that or talk about it openly, but I reckon there's a lot of guys at the gym who go into the changing room and they're like, whoa, I've got a tiny winky suddenly. And like, everyone's fearing that, but everyone's experiencing it. But when you think you've got something that's not normal and everyone else is fine, that makes it so much worse.
Oh yeah, it does. But like,
sorry.
No, go on. You speak.
I was going to say the amount of guys that probably get junk emails and are that insecure, they'll go and spend some money on some pump or whatever.
Well, my mum's just bought some diet pills, and I shake my head.
Yeah, so stupid.
I know. The idea that you can take a pill and get rid of all your
it's appealing.
It's wonderful. It'd be wonderful.
Nice.
It'd be wonderful to take a pill and recover, and it take a month.
Salesmen are good usually because they don't have morals and they are good at lying to people. But people forget that when they're nice and honest people, they forget there are people that aren't that same way, and they'll believe it. Like my dad does the Cambridge diet, which is just some milk.
Oh, fucking hell, my mum was doing that. I just shake my head. She's emptying this little whey powders in a tank and just
not sustainable or natural whatsoever. Like 500 calories a day.
I said to her, look, if at some point, Mum, you're going to try and eat normally and you're just going to gain it back, she will not listen. Even though she's seen my video where I literally lost, what was it, like 3 stone, she will not listen. So she just has to do her own thing. You have to let them just figure it out for themselves.
I've got a friend who, I say friend, like, I always liked him. We weren't like close friends in school, but I always thought he was a cool guy. He was always like fairly overweight, chubby. But now he's like a gym instructor and is always posting these videos and pictures of himself.
Yeah.
And he like takes pictures of the meals he eats, which, you know, for some people, if they're not that worried about eating meat, then I think it can be healthy. But he eats like chicken with broccoli and rice every day to a restrictive level. But he looks like in such good shape now. Same like Zac Efron. If you've seen Zac Efron, he's probably on steroids. For sure, because that low percentage body fat combined with the muscle on his arms and stuff.
Well, put it this way, like people can make a career out of lying that they're not taking steroids.
Yeah, for sure.
Why? People are so stupid to believe that people wouldn't do that. Like,
like The Rock. He went. Like, no one's ever
my god.
In an interview, because it's probably in his contract that he'll just walk off if it's spored up. But obviously The Rock, John Cena, these wrestlers are on steroids. You can't get into that shape.
Yeah,
and people who aren't on steroids and they're doing it naturally feel bad that they can't meet that same level.
I've had friends that have done working out for 4 years and they're just looking in the mirror, looking at people on YouTube and going, what the fuck am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
Like, I'm eating how they're supposed to eat. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Like, what is that I'm not doing? They're just missing out there.
Yeah. And it's funny because I've done a video about Durian Rider today that you might have watched. But
Durian Rider's crumbling a bit.
A little bit. But he made so many videos before him and Freely broke up about people being on steroids, calling him out, and then he opens up that he was on steroids, and he's like, "Well, I can't really deny it now." It's just funny. And Lance Armstrong, how adamant he was that he was never on any kind of.
Exactly.
I mean, it was like blood transfusion, and then he's just like, "Yep, I'm fucked. I'm backed into a corner. I have to just admit I was."
Yeah, exactly.
But some people can lie really well.
Yeah, they can.
But the body language gives them away in the eyes. Like if you watch Lance Armstrong, the way he conducts himself, it's obvious when you know the truth. But at the time, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, with your sleep, I think you'd be amazed at how much of a difference it would be if you get off the technology and unwind before bed and just sleep.
I love what you said in the video the other day. Like your dad, I think you said he got glandular fever. And in the 70s or whenever it was, he didn't have a PlayStation 4 or whatever it was to distract him. You would just be bored and go to bed. Whereas now it's so unnatural. And that's why people in their 20s like us end up with this problem. And then for me, for someone like me who thinks Accutane did it, then that becomes somewhat an excuse to try anymore. It's like, oh, it doesn't fucking matter. Like that drug's ruined my life. Yeah,
exactly. You can't accept that. And I think that, you know, I just feel the body, when I was at my worst, right, just getting upstairs was effort. If my body was like so shit, like where am I going with this? I just knew inside that my body did want to thrive. Like it doesn't make any sense. The body going against you, really punishing you. Like, yeah, I want you to feel like shit. I want
I'm
you
just
to.
cursed.
Yeah, exactly. I really did think I was cursed at one point. As strange as
Yeah.
that, I really did think that someone had pointed at me from up above and gone, "Fuck him over." I'm like looking
I
at
know
my
what you mean.
friends, and I'm like, "What have I done so wrong?"
Yeah. There were times where, as an atheist, I would play. It's so weird. Like, this was years ago when it first struck me that I was like ill when I was probably 17, 18. I was playing Pro Evolution Soccer, and I was like, this was so weird. I don't even know why I'm admitting to it, but I was like, please God, if you can hear me, if I win this game, like, if I win this game, I'll wake up tomorrow and my problems will be gone. And I won the game, and God's like, fuck you, man.
I used to do
Fuck
that.
you. Dealing with the people in Africa right now. I'll get to you later.
But so let's say your diet.
Like, let's talk about what I'm eating.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just be really open about what I've had. This morning I had bran, like all bran with some what exactly milk did I have today? Coconut milk today.
Okay.
With half a tablespoon of brown sugar, just to make it more appetizing, I guess.
Yeah.
For lunch, I went into the city today, so I went somewhere called Beer Kitchen on the market in Norwich, which does vegan food. I had some vegan mac and cheese, which is, a bit of pasta with probably cashew based cheese with what's it called? The spice. What spice was it? Paprika. They put paprika on it. And then some chips as a treat, obviously off the market with some vinegar and salt. Not the good salt either, just the pure iodinized, depraved of anything else. So, do I have anything else? I then went to Waterstones and I had a bit of vegan cake that tasted so sugary and kind of dry. It's like a lemon cake.
Was it gluten?
Yeah, gluten. Vegan hot chocolate, meaning like with soy milk.
Yeah.
So not the healthiest, and I know that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel all right now because sometimes I think it's good for the soul to like have the odd treat, and like people who do cheat days, I think that kind of helps them sustain a healthy diet. But tonight, what we having, Ellen? What we having? A corn burger, one of the vegan chicken burgers with chips and a salad. So, a bit of leaves in there, but tell me what you think of that.
I when people like, for example, corn, I couldn't put that in my body.
I just know it's like bullshit. It's just some mushroom fermented with loads of
fermented mushroom shit that they won't tell you really what it is. Like
mycoprotein. Yeah.
What is that? Oh, it's molded mushrooms or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then it's battered in wheat.
Yeah.
So with your diet, it's not the healthiest.
Yeah.
And at some point you have to make a sacrifice. Is the little pleasures worth you feeling the way you do hour after hour, day after day?
What's an average day that you would sort of propose as a good diet?
Okay, so obviously it depends on every person, but I was really strict when I was first recovering, because at the point I was like, right, I don't know what diet works, but I know that there are foods that I'm eating that are not good. So gluten, dairy, eggs, sugar, all these things. I'm like, right, I know that's not helping me towards recovering, And then I would look at whole foods and I'd be like, right, I know that is good for me. So I based my diet around things like that. So I would have, back when I was sensitive to oats, I would have a porridge replacement, and I would have that with hemp milk. Then have like seeds, raisins, nuts and stuff in there. Maybe a blob of nut butter, cinnamon.
Yeah.
And I would, in different points of my journey, I did different things. So I would sometimes eat every few hours and have smaller portions, and then other times I would increase like my portion sizes. But I ate very simply. Most people would be like, I can't do that, but you'd be surprised at what you can do when you get desperate enough. I would eat, like the video I posted earlier, it was like sweet potato, beans, steamed vegetables, and roasted tomatoes. I would have, let me think. I will say that one of my cheat things, which wasn't really cheat, it was gluten-free, and it was, you know, Clive's pies?
I don't actually know.
Okay.
Never heard of it.
I'll type it in the chat. So these guys, they make vegan gluten-free pies, and I would have them every time I felt like I was going to crack. So those were something I had with, and I'd like mix beans in a tomato sauce. So I'd cook from like, I'd just have like saute some onions, which I eventually replaced the oil with water.
Right. Okay. So you're a no oil person, yeah.
Yeah. When
I kind of get why. Like coconut oil or any of them is obviously unnatural. And you need a lot of coconut.
Like, yeah, it is unnatural, but when you look at the profiles of the omega-6s and omega-3s in a coconut oil, it's a lot better than olive oil and stuff. Like olive oil, our bodies are like naturally 2 omega-6s to 1 omega-3 or 3 to 1.
That's right. Yeah, I've heard the same.
And olive oil is like 16 to 1. And if you're having that on a consistent basis, it just causes inflammation. Yeah, I'll have to link you. You can type in a chart like omega-3 to omega-6s, like chart of oils or something like that, and it will show you like how inflammatory some of these oils are. It's like the worst one's corn oil or something. It's like 60,
like sunflower, rapeseed, all of those.
Yeah, things like that. So I did get rid of oils as much as possible. Before then, I was having olive oil nearly every day because I thought it was healthy.
Yeah, I mean, everyone says it is, especially like the
exactly. And
does it cook the same? Like, for example, I have a all-day breakfast where I do like mushrooms and I put oil on. Without oil, does it still, a bit of water, does that still do the trick?
Yeah, but don't expect it to taste as good. That's the like sacrifice I had to make. But I used to, other things that I'd do would be to blend like frozen bananas to make like an ice cream. Like if I was really wanting something that felt like something I would used to have. Another alternative is the Booja Booja ice creams. They're healthy. They don't have sugar in, and they're really nice. They're really nice.
Yeah. They got like xylitol or something.
Say again?
Like one of the sweeteners. Do they have like xylitol or one of the other sweeteners in?
No sweeteners. 4 ingredients, and it's all like healthy stuff. What else am I thinking? I would quinoa. I'd have a lot of quinoa. I'd eat just like chop up loads of different fruits and have like a fruit salad and eat it whole, not have a smoothie. I did have smoothies in the beginning, but I eliminated them because I felt really dizzy and stuff afterwards.
Yeah, I get dizzy.
Yeah,
because you have like POTS and stuff, right? So you would get dizzy often, and that was all just linked under one umbrella as chronic fatigue symptoms, I suppose.
I think as my illness got worse, I started getting new symptoms. You know, so what would have been just fatigue when I was 14, it just new symptoms cropped up every few years that I left it and didn't sort out the problem. So really my diet was very simple. It just really revolved around whole foods. I didn't have any added sugar things. I didn't have anything with gluten, any dairy, any eggs. It was just vegan, gluten-free.
Yeah, I've tried. The thing with gluten for me, I suppose, as a vegan, like if I was a vegan, I'd find it so easy. But yeah, like bread obviously is just so convenient and tasty. And like the vegan, or not the vegan, the gluten-free bread is shit. And obviously you probably would say don't even bother with it anyway because it's not healthy. But
there's like a couple that are okay, but they're not normal bread. They're very solid. For example, Biona is an organic company from Germany, and they do a gluten-free bread, and it's quite dear for what it is and how much you get, but it's better than all the other gluten-free breads in terms of health. Other things I would have is like mashed potato with peas, sweet corn with. I ate a lot of beans, chuck in a Clive pie now and again. Then when I could tolerate them, oats, dates, bananas, berries, things like that.
What are your thoughts on like humans being a certain type of animal, I guess? Like, do you believe that everyone would work like with an ideal diet? Like some people, for example, I've just read a comment, would recommend the starch solution. Some videos have come out in the vegan community lately by Mike the Vegan, for example, saying starch is the best thing for humans. It makes up a lot of calories and there's evidence we grew up on it. Some people obviously will say that they need meat, or they think they need meat, or our ancestors would have ate meat. It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it is hard. I think that it's something people have to see for themselves. I think that also a lot of people can try diet and then blame the diet when it's not actually diet. It could be other factors, stress, uncertainty, poor sleep, other things going on in life, emotional stresses. Maybe they've switched over to a diet and their body is just not used to it. It's trying to get used to it. Maybe, like I said earlier to someone, with meat and dairy, when you stop having them and you've had them for quite a long time, your body needs to jumpstart its production of actually producing things like creatine and carnitine again.
Yeah.
So you could be having a problem where your body's like, whoa, I haven't made creatine or carnitine for a long time because you've always had it. So I'm going to have to start making it again. There's so many things that people can often blame a diet unnecessarily.
I've noticed as well, if I've slipped up, like if I've been at a social gathering and been like, oh, there's some cake going, fuck it, I'll just have a bit of cake and it's got dairy in.
Yeah.
I now think that because I've not had it, my body's understood that we don't need cows products. And now I get like acid reflux or digestive issues. I feel like I need to shit myself.
So for example, say like I stop having beans for a few months and I go back to eating beans, I fart my guts out. Like,
my girlfriend will know that about me.
Like, I will fart so much, and like when I was having kefir, that wasn't a problem for me. Maybe it's because I got used to having beans so often. My body started producing the enzymes that would digest them more efficiently. So when you have dairy, your body starts to create enzymes to digest it, and when you haven't had it for a while, they're not there. So when I had eggs after not having them for 3 months, I shit my guts out all day. Like, it was so bad. There's so many variables. That's why when I see people say this one thing's the reason why I'm ill, or this diet just doesn't work for me, and they've done it for like 2 or 3 weeks, there's more than likely some other reasons behind it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like before I actually stuck to veganism, I once tried it and I started reading loads because I was already very conscious of my health and a bit hypochondriac-y that I would read into everything in detail. And so I tried going vegan for 3 weeks and I was like, I feel way more anxious. And maybe I did because I was trying to follow like Freely's advice. Fuck Freely. But I was eating like 5 bananas for lunch, and that sugar for someone with adrenal fatigue, just like she and Doreen as well both said severely. I don't believe them for sure, but so I thought it might work for me, and I just felt worse. But then obviously there's different variants, and you do have to really try things for a while before you know. And also there was probably elements of stress. I don't know how I was sleeping back then, but probably not great.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're watching YouTube up until midnight and you're like, right, I'm tired now, hit the sack, your brain's still active. You're not really getting refreshing sleep. And at the end of the day, you do all your recovering when you're asleep and resting.
I honestly haven't woken up in probably 10 years with energy. And I know, I really know that I could. But for some reason, like, why am I not doing it? I'm like, I mean, I'm not as bad now. I used to play Call of Duty until at one point I used to play it till like 2 in the morning with a friend, which is obviously terrible. Like just playing a war game that your body thinks you're in that situation, then trying to go to sleep straight away.
Exactly.
And then you're like, why am I tired? It just makes no sense.
Yeah, exactly.
So what time do you go to bed, or what time do you aim to go to bed by?
9:30.
9:30. Yeah. My girlfriend would be like, fuck that. Like, if I try and go to bed, and I could, and she would join me later.
I know, my girlfriend's the same. She makes it difficult for me.
Do you like share a bed or live with your girlfriend then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. But I feel like during recovery, if I'd shared a bed, my sleep wouldn't have been as good.
I don't sleep as well with my girlfriend. If I wake up in the night and there's someone else in the bed with me, it doesn't matter if it's her or someone else. I
Yeah.
just don't sleep as well.
Yeah.
She just breathes loudly.
No, but when I was recovering, I didn't have a girlfriend. I was on my own. I focused entirely on recovery, and I know that a lot of people just can't just do that. So I can only give my advice from my experience, but being able to sleep on my own and control my sleeping times and having complete control over my situation and my decisions I could just follow through was hugely important. But yeah, early nights are huge. They really are.
You know, last year when I was listening to your videos and I really got into it, and I did notice a difference. I did it for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and then I sort of slipped back again. But I was getting in the bath at 8:30 or 9. I was living at my parents at the time, so I had a bed to myself. I'd listen to a podcast. Like I would actually listen to Sean Stevenson's podcast or an anxiety coach's podcast. That's quite a good one for anxiety sufferers. And I would go to bed, like I'd use Epsom salts as well. I'd go to bed about 10, 10:30 consistently. And yeah, I noticed I didn't wake up with energy because I just haven't. I think you need more time if you've been ill for so long.
Yeah, exactly.
I definitely felt more stable in my mood and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think people expect too much as well from one thing. So they'll do what I say about sleep, and they will go after a few days, I'm going to bed at 9:30 and I can't fall asleep. You know, if you've had poor sleep, adrenal fatigue, and just poor sleep in general, and you're expecting it to change and go to sleep when you just lay down within a few days, you're expecting too much too quick. You've had this problem years. You know, it's going to take a lot more than a few days a week to recover.
And I think the worst thing you can do, like I was away one day or one night in London because I was going to the Harry Potter studio, the Warner Brothers thing, which is cool. But I was staying over the night so that I could get there early and not have it be too crowded. And I didn't get 1 second of sleep that night. And all I was doing was like losing my mind, trying to force myself to sleep. Like it's impossible. When you're like not relaxed, you cannot sleep. And so I should have just got up, and like I felt a bit trapped because I was up a couple of floors and there was nothing around. It was near like a motorway or something. So I couldn't get up and walk around. But yeah, I think when you've spoken about it as well, when you can't sleep because you're not used to going to bed that early, you do just need to get up, even put the TV on, just like sit outside if you can.
I wouldn't even put TV on.
No.
Like Sean Stevens says no screens. Because
no blue
light. It interrupts your body's natural rhythm. It perceives it as sunrise. So your body's like, right, we have to get up. So your brain is already engaged. So that's why I always tell people to avoid screens at all costs. If you can't sleep at 9:30, sit up in bed, listen to an audiobook, read a book if you can. Or if you really can't sleep, like I used to, when I was fixing my sleep, for the first few months, I'd just wake up at like 1, 2 in the morning because it's quite common in people with adrenal fatigue. I'd just put on my coat and sit outside some nights and just sit, chill out, look at the stars, and then an hour later go back to bed and I'd fall asleep. And I continued that routine until at some point, 3-4 months down the line, I was sleeping through the night. And although it was like 6 hours at the time or 7 hours, it was the first refreshing sleep I had in about since 2006, 2005.
Yeah. So if you're going to bed at 9:30, do you fall asleep like quite quickly now?
I do actually fall asleep quite quickly now. Like there's no issues for me falling asleep. But in the beginning, no, I was awake for another hour. You know, when I tell people to get into bed at 9:30, I don't mean you have to be asleep at 9:30. I'm saying just unwind, get rid of the technology and just chill out and let your body like unwind from the day to just rest and sleep.
Like every night, me and my girlfriend are like, fucking hell, it's 11:30 again. We said we're going to go to bed early tonight. And now we got to brush our teeth and we're just groggy as fuck. We can't even move. Like terrible, but it's under our control, obviously.
Stefan, once you feel what it feels like to wake up and be like, I feel good, you realize that all the other little things, the instant gratification, is just not worth it.
Yeah.
And when you feel that, you'll realize that you wish you had done it sooner.
Yeah. And what time do you wake up then in the morning if you're going to bed at half 9?
Like, the healthier I got, the earlier I woke up. So sometimes I'd wake up at 5:30 and I'd be like, right, I'm ready to run. Like, that's how good it got.
Yeah, cool.
I'd wake up and I'd feel energized, and that feeling was so euphoric. The fact that my body was at its peak of where it should be, and I had done everything, all my hard work had paid off. It felt amazing. It was like, why the fuck did I ever sacrifice this to watch YouTube videos at night or play a game? I was like, what the fuck? Why hasn't anyone told me this? And this is why I preach it so much on my channel. I'm trying to tell you, like, shape people, like, do it now before you're like 2 years, 3 years down the line, and you're just like, why didn't I do it then?
I think why people latch onto your videos, although obviously you're not like famous or getting thousands of views, but you get a lot of likes and people comment on your videos.
Yeah.
It's because you're not trying to sell some bullshit supplement.
Exactly.
You're just open and honest about what's worked for you. And as I know from having spoken to you a few years ago, you commented you looked ill as fuck.
Yeah.
Your face was like swollen looking or something. And people have actually seen you go through it. So it's like, this is a real person who didn't have to do anything crazy. They just like improve their diet, sleep.
Because it would be very simple for me to go, right, I've got this picture of me. My face is swollen. I look like shit. I look ill. I look a different person. I can't recognize myself in the mirror. And now I've changed completely. I could get those 2 pictures and go, right, I'm making a career out of this. I'm going to sell something.
I know.
I could sell a supplement. I could do something. But I knew that that's all the bullshit that people had sold me when I was ill. And I was like, when I was recovering, I was like, if I ever fucking overcome this, that is it. I'm going to tell everyone what they need to know. No bullshit. No money required. Just spend your money on good food and just sorting your life out. That's what I did my YouTube for. I'm not selling anything. I don't know how people sleep at night selling bullshit supplements that they know aren't doing anything. I don't know how they do it.
Oh, it's awful. But when you get desperate, like, even though I knew all your advice and it made sense, when you get desperate, you sort of forget and you just want instant, something just that will work. And this past Christmas, I was watching some guy talking about the lightning process, the guy that sells that. And I was like, you know, it's like couple of grand to go for a few days. What if it works? Maybe it'll work. And then if I don't go, I never know. But obviously it's bollocks. Like, fuck him.
This is how I say it. Yeah, like, if you're trying to make money, this is how I say it. People that are chronically ill, a lot of people that come to me were like me. They're not working. They just can't. Their health is deteriorated to such a point that they can't work.
They can't afford that.
How are they going to fucking afford something that might help them? You know, it may very well add to their recovery, you know? But how do they afford it?
If it did,
they're extorting people's desperation. It's fucking disgusting.
If that works, like, if he was right, if he'd gone through chronic fatigue and this lightning process, which probably just means think positively from what I've read.
Yeah, it's basically when you go, your thoughts going, you're never going to recover. You stupid idiot. How can you think you'll ever recover? You're meant to do this thing where you jump forward and you go, stop, and then you constantly stop that train of thought.
That's it.
I think that, that is benefit to stop a negative thought. Negative thinking, of course you're allowed to have negative thoughts and say, you know what, I fucking hate my life right now. I hate where it's going. I don't know what I'm doing towards recovery. No one's helping me. I'm just fed up. It's okay to have those feelings. Don't block them out. Who wouldn't be depressed in the situation you're in? But it's important to not let that linger day after day after day. You have to balance it out with, like, right, what am I going to do about it? But the lightning process, don't just dwell on things. That's pretty much the lightning process.
Don't
dwell on negativity. That is the lightning process, pretty much in a nutshell. And he's charging a few grand for it. Fuck him, seriously. That's just, it's unfair. Like, I respect the kind of people. Like, there's a guy I watched on YouTube that was showing you how to do, like, this tapping EFT thing.
I know the guy,
and he does it for free. He tells you how to do it. I respect that. And then if he wants to charge for something private, but he's giving all the information free, I respect that. And that's why I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do anything, I'll do it that way. you know?
Yeah.
I'd rather be poor, not making any money, give my truths out there, and sleep at night. Like, I know how bad it is if you can't sleep, so I'd rather keep my sleep, thanks.
If you were Durian Rider, you'd be a lot richer.
Yeah.
Here's a book for $30. Eat sugar, lots of it. But like, for example, there's just like certain people who have this, like Durian Rider, although he is, and this is just my opinion, he's an anus. He's got a bit of charisma and a bit of personality that people latch onto it. And another example is Tony Robbins. I watched this documentary.
Yeah.
I say documentary, it's like him doing his live shows in California or something. It's on Netflix. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called I'm Not Your Guru. It's the funniest thing. It's so funny. Some of the people on there are just like so desperate. It's kind of like laughable. The things they'll try.
They are. My mum is the key example of someone that would go to Tony Robbins looking for someone to answer all their problems.
Yeah,
these people make money out of people.
He's like crazy.
Yeah, these people make money from people that really want to believe in something that will cure their problems easily.
Yeah,
they don't want to put in the hard effort. They don't want to believe that it will take years. They don't want to believe that they can't just get rid of all their problems in a week. And that's how people profit from them. And it is incredibly easy to do. I was going to do a parody video, like how easy it would be to fool everyone into buying a supplement.
Yeah.
Like my mum read this one. It's like, did you know that the fat cells we've discovered that fat cells have signals that release fat. We found a supplement that targets those signals and gets right into the brain's circuitry to release those fat cells into the bloodstream and get them out of your body. Lose 2 stone in 2 weeks. And she's reading that going, wow, like it releases the fat. That's exactly what I need because my fat ain't releasing. Like, that's what people fall for because they're in that desperate place. Like, I used to buy some insane supplements. I remember buying a green powder from volcanic ash. Like, that stood out to me. I was like, wow, volcanic ash. Our soil's depleted with minerals. This volcanic ash must have loads of minerals. That's exactly what I need.
Kind of gets you, doesn't it? Like, you kind of think that makes sense. That all makes sense. I tried this ant powder.
It was a little 250 gram powder for 55 quid.
Yeah.
And I was buying shit like that. And then you get it and you take this little green drink and you're like, right, look at my watch. Why am I
Nothing's happening?
Maybe I've got to give it a few days.
That's the mindset
I was in. I used to do the liver flush. Like, that is insane.
That guy's dead now.
Oh yeah, he's dead now. Fucking hell.
Probably not because of the liver flush necessarily, but he did still get cancer. So that stuff's such crap. I put coffee up my ass. I drank coffee through my butthole because I thought it would work.
People don't understand how desperate you get. Like, you go to the doctor, they don't cure you. Like, wow, what the hell do I do? And you'll literally fall for anything. I did. I fall for all these things. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, when it comes to you, Stefan, I think that you kind of already know what you have to do.
I think so. Like, I'm still kind of set on the idea that maybe, because I've tried going gluten-free for a few weeks, I missed the foods I could have, didn't know what to eat instead, and just didn't feel any better in those few weeks of sticking to it. That I think that if I focus on the sleep, that would probably be the biggest thing I could do.
Yeah. I always tell people,
by the way,
sleep is huge.
Yeah, by the way, not to cut you off, but again, I've like where I sit when I do these, I can't be bothered to move my power supply. I've got like 5 minutes, but I guess we're sort of wrapping this up.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, is there anything else you want to talk about before we? I mean, you can carry on, obviously, if you want without me. But...
I think Stefan, like many people that watch my YouTube videos, deep down already know what they have to do. They just want that confirmation from someone that's recovered.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people know deep down that if they really commit themselves and make those right decisions day after day, they will see results. It's like someone that picks up the guitar. If you pick up the guitar for a few weeks and you, at the end of 2 weeks, like, why can't I play Stairway to Heaven yet? What the fuck is, like, you know, people expect, if you look at it like an instrument, no one expects to be a guitar master in a month. You know, no one expects to have grown loads of muscle in a month. No one expects these things, but with illness, it's it's not a subject that's talked about as much, and it should be. And I think that hashtag coffee up my ass, for God's sake. I think that you just have to look at it from the point of, without consistency, you actually don't really achieve anything.
You're right, yeah, like gym, like people who go to the gym, I don't know, like 5 times a week for a month and give up. Fuck all happens, really.
Yeah, nothing happens.
The amount of people that do
a person that goes 2 weeks for a year will do more than someone goes five days a week for 2-3 months. You know?
Yeah.
Consistency is like everything to...
There'll be people, a lot of people just don't have the... They're just lazy in a way. Like, people look at Zac Efron as a man and be like, oh, he looks ripped, I want to get like that. Or they'll buy Men's Fitness magazine, they'll be like, right, I'm going to go for this. But that kind of enthusiasm dies off after 2 hours. And they're like, oh, it's kind of hard. I don't know if I can make that much of a sacrifice to get abs. And I can just admit I can't. I don't have the willpower to get abs. Never have, never will. Fuck it.
Like the effort it takes to get abs. Like in my video, transformation video, I was actually starting to get my abs through. And
I mean, you did look good in that picture. Like you were doing those long distance bike rides, I guess. And that obviously does pay off when you consistently do it. When I've honestly and I then sort of collapsed into fatigue again, but I was trying to push myself. I was doing some weights and my arms, like even in a month or so, I was like, well, my arms are getting bigger for once because I was lifting heavier weights.
Yeah.
But then you stop doing it and it just like,
Oh, yeah. Like also a lot of these people, you know, when they take these pictures, it's right after they've been in gym where your muscles are like pumped.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's a big difference between taking a picture when you haven't been in the gym and when you've just finished a workout.
For sure.
But yeah, there's a lot of deception out there. It's what sells shit. You know, if you lie about being on steroids, you take pictures straight after your workout, you do all these things.
Your belly in the morning when you've not eaten anything. Starve yourself for a day.
Yeah, exactly. Like Dream Rider, Joey Carbstrong just came out of videos like spilling all of his bullshit. For example, they went out to dinner, and Dream Rider said, "Oh, I've eaten already today," and do you know what he had?
I heard
100 grams of water sugar. That's a fucking eating disorder, and he tells everyone else to stuff their face while himself isn't even following his own advice.
Oh man. I've seen this video where he probably burnt off a lot of calories. He went on this massive bike ride and he just pours 0.5 kilogram of sugar on some cereal and that's his dinner. Man,
I used to really respect Dream Rider. You know, I really did find his motivational speeches amazing.
At times. He made the occasional one that was good.
Yeah, he used to, like when I watched him, he'd be like, "Why the fuck are you being a victim? You've got a lot to be grateful, you useless piece of shit." And I'd be like, "Wow, like no one slapped me in the face like that. What am I doing?" It just got me out of my mindset that I was in every day. Like I've never heard anyone talk to me like that, and I'd be like, you know what? I do have a lot to be grateful for. I'm not born in fucking Africa. I'm not born in these poor countries. I'm not, you know, I have a place to stay at night. You know? I was like, shit, I respect this guy. And he did help me in that regard of changing my mindset. But he does come out with a lot of bullshit at the same time, which is a shame. Like, he's a great motivational speaker, but at the same time, if he just stuck
to that, he could still do just as well, I really think.
He was Tony Robinson, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
He really did. And he was such a different person 6 years ago.
Yeah, it's like he's got more desperate as time's gone on.
The last 2 years, he's just like, all drama, weird shit. I haven't bothered watching Dream Rider for a year or two.
Yeah,
but I got to respect the points that he did have right, and he really did help change my mindset. But
yeah.
Stefan, I think you already know what you have to do.
Go to bed now.
Yeah, I think you do need to go to bed now. But yeah. It's the same with people on the stream, you know. People find it so hard to believe that you can change all these things, but if you do all these things, you'll start to realize that it takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
You know, you're expecting to find this really insane treatment that lasts 2 weeks where you like starve yourself for 5 days, then drink nothing but olive oil to release these stones that are causing you all these ills. And you know, it's very difficult at the time. You're swallowing this shit and you're almost puking.
Mental.
Yeah, it sounds mental. It's like you see your illness as something insane, so you have to match that with something insane to cure it.
The thing is, some people do that and say it works, and you know, the stones that come out, like, what actually are they?
When I did it, stones came out, but do you know what it really was?
Just the mixture, right? Hardened.
Yeah.
Probably.
You know, there's people like, I've done, I'm on my 24th liver flush right now. I've flushed probably about 150,000 stones. My liver's still got stones. It's like, don't you get it? You're making the stones by having so much olive oil and all the mixtures together. Like, it's just a bit of common sense, really. But people get desperate.
That salt sounds the worst part, though, and all of that fucking oil as well. That's just crazy.
It can mess up your electrolyte balance, and that's dangerous.
Did he come up with that idea?
I don't know.
Gonna make something up? Like, people try anything. Let's give this a go. I do think he genuinely thought it worked for himself, but I think he was wrong.
But yeah,
Maritz wasn't his name. I don't remember.
Yeah, just
better go now anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, it was good talking to Stefan. Like, do you think it helped at all? Maybe, just maybe.
You're right. I do know what would help, and for me, like, part of it is my mentality as well as the sleep and diet. Like, I do have a tendency to fall into like depression and my life's so shit, it's so much worse than everyone else, and I hate my job and I don't have anything worth living for. Like, I can get really depressive like that. And that's just like,
I was in the same place. Like, when I was recovering, I'd be like, oh, so I'm 24, 25 years old. I haven't had a job yet. I haven't been to college. I don't have any friends in real life. I look like shit. I feel like shit. I live at home. Wow, how much of a fuck up am I? And I'd be like, wow, I might as well kill myself tomorrow. And you can get in that mindset, and it just drags you down. And then after I'd have my little moan, I'd be like, oh, that didn't actually get me anywhere. You know? So realizing that you just got to choose what you want to do and do it. Be like, right, I'm recovering. That's it. I'm going to do everything I can to recover. That's it. And then you just choose it. And then every day when it gets to the part of the routine that you need to follow through for, you don't go, should I do it? You just do it. You see what I'm saying? Oh. Stefan. I think... No, it's not live on Facebook. I hate Facebook. I really do hate Facebook. You know what? If you're on Facebook, I recommend you get off Facebook. What I was going to say, yeah, it is kind of awkward. Oh, God, yeah, he's gone for more coffee. Yeah, at least you're still there. At least I'm not talking to an empty chat room. But what was I going to say? I was going to say, when it comes to those depressive thoughts and stuff, I can't even remember what I was going to say. Oh, that's what I was going to say. If you're on Facebook and Instagram and you're scrolling through all these people that are smiling like, oh my God, my life is so great. Oh my God, everything's amazing. That stuff, even though you're like, that's fake, subconsciously, you're picking that in and going, wow. It's like your brain subconsciously picks it up and goes, my life's shit. So I think it's good to get yourself in a cocoon, like I said in my last video, is to get yourself in a cocoon, block out all that useless crap that's actually not adding to your life or whatever. It's just trying to, it just puts you down. So it's serving no use in recovery. You have to really look at everything you do in the day, like whether it's what you eat, it's what you think, it's what you do, it's what you browse. All these things add to how you impacts your psychological like health. your mental health. So you really have to examine everything you do in a day. And I might do a video on this, but society and all this like internet and everything really does impact our brain more than we realize. And that's something I want to touch on. And it's not really to do with health. Maybe it is, but this is something I want to broaden on at some point. Haha, this being cool. If anyone here wants to keep in touch and chat about this stuff, is there any way to do so? Yeah, you could set up a forum, couldn't you? How did you relax during the day? How did I relax during the day? I used to listen to my grandma's stories when I'd sit on the couch with my eyes closed. I used to listen to audiobooks, used to have baths. Just sat in the bath was really relaxing for me. I really enjoyed it. Epsom salt baths. Yeah, I need to do a Kiefer video. I've ordered it and it comes on Wednesday, and I'll try and do a video on Kiefer as soon as I get it before I go on holiday. That should help. But I really do recommend Kefir. It's like it introduces bacteria into your stomach. I don't know how it works. I can't prove it. And I doubt they'll do a study on it because it's not really profitable, is it? But I really do believe it helped me with my bad stomach problems. How can people? I mean, right. What am I reading? What's the best Kefir to get? I like this organic one. Maybe I have to link it when I do my Kefir channel. I'll tell you where I got my Kefir. It's on Amazon. Do you know if it works with honey? No, honey has antibacterial effects which kill Kefir. So no, it doesn't work. If you want to use something like that, use a bit of blackstrap molasses or coconut sugar. By the way, Christina, when you use sugar, the Kefir grains actually eat like 99% of it. So it's not a really sugary beverage. When you drink it and you've fermented it properly, that it doesn't taste of sugar. It's 9 p.m. Everyone needs to go to bed. Yes, you do. Is it hard to maintain Kefir? Well, every 2 or 3 days, it can be a pain in the ass, but it's not that difficult, really, when you need to do it for your gut health. Dinosaurus, you need to go to bed then. What type of water do you consume? I don't consume tap water because of sodium fluoride and other shit. It tastes horrible and it has like murky white stuff in it. I consume just spring water. I used to find these 10-liter spring water bags that used to come from Harrogate. I'm about to grow some Kefir effects. Sauerkraut and stuff. Sauerkraut. Yeah, you can try sauerkraut and everything, but it's too much effort for me. Like it easily goes off. I must have been doing it wrong. How come so many people are mean though? Only a minority get ill? Because I think that at the end of the day, some of the people that don't get ill end up in their 40s, 50s, and just kind of get these huge problems that we probably won't get because we're fixing our health now. You know, it's our body actually working to protect us from getting any worse. You know, some people go through their whole lives like, oh, everything's fine. They never have to think about the diet, anything. Then boom, you go to the doctors, you've got breast cancer, you've got something cancer. You would much rather get the problem early on with ME, chronic fatigue, all these things, and sort it out rather than not get it and then out of the blue cancer. It's much harder to get rid of cancer rather than prevent it. I do want to replace Facebook, social media with reading a book or learning an instrument, but I lack the energy and then go, nah. honestly, I played guitar now and again, but I honestly didn't have the energy or the concentration to learn it. That's why I stuck to audiobooks most of the time. Yeah, you find yourself browsing the internet. Well, when it comes to browsing the internet, it's kind of just keeping you engaged in it. It's not, you're not really relaxing when you're online. Like right now, I'm not relaxed before bed. Like I'm staring at a bright screen, interacting with people. My mind's going 100 miles an hour. I'm not even the slightest bit tired, and it's getting up to 9:30. So I probably won't go to bed at 9:30 tonight, but you know, it's worth it if I can help you guys. You know what? Do you know what I get the most from doing these kind of things is I just pray that I'm destroying the profits of people that make money out of people's misery. That is what my passion is. Ruining people's profits that are doing it out of the desperation of other people. That's what I mean. Did you give up your friends during your 1-year healing journey? Yeah. Yeah, I gave up I gave up them because they'd be like, they just question me. They'd be like, "You're just being lazy." Yeah, I went to the gym and I'm tired as well. Get over it. It's like, fuck me, mate. You have no idea. I would like when I did my 170-mile bike ride. The fatigue I felt after that wasn't even a scratch on how I felt when I was chronically ill. So just don't listen to people. They have no clue. He's turned all the screens off. He took a fight and went to bed. Yeah, little shit. But I'm glad you enjoyed. Maybe I'll do these streams. It's so much easier for me than setting up times and stuff. I can just turn it on and then just answer questions, can't I? That's cool. And then I can upload it afterwards. I hope that it uploads afterwards. But yeah, I might do an exercise video. Just show you how far I've come. So, yeah. If I didn't answer any of your questions, you can always leave it in the comment section below and stuff. My doctor tells me Lyme disease, but I have my doubts. I would have my doubts as well. There's never really the Lyme disease test is so like, what's it called when they're not accurate. Yeah, when you have these Lyme tests, some person might have Lyme disease and it turns up negative. So I'd be very careful just going along with it. Of course, during the meantime, if you have a diagnosis for Lyme, try those therapies or the herbs and everything, but just do everything else as well. Don't wait between appointments with doctors to do anything. Doctor, did you take something to sleep, supplements or something? No. After I took Zopiclone from the doctor, I realized that wasn't the way to go. I needed to fix it, so I slept without anything. People take melatonin, but then your body gets used to it. I personally don't agree with that. But of course, if that's something that helps you, you have to do what you have to do. Do you find it easy to make new friends once you recovered? Yeah, I found it really easy to make new friends because I had a huge... when you go through something like this, you build a very strong character. You've been through a lot, and you have a lot more to talk about, and it just makes you a more... I don't know, I felt like it made me a lot stronger person. How long does it take? How do you let it not affect your social life? It's gonna affect your social life, mate. There's no way around it. You have to accept that for now. You just have to look to the future and believe it can get better. Would love to see your first exercises were. Oh, it was very very small. Tell me more about your ME/CFS story. How did it start? What I say is, how did it start? Well, it was a slow decline. I remember I was playing rugby when I was 13, 14, and all of a sudden I just went, ooh, it was like I came out of my body almost, and I felt this sudden flu-like symptoms, achy, and it felt like I'd already finished the rugby match before I began. That was the first indication. I was waking up tired every day, every morning. I didn't feel good. I just thought that was normal. I thought I was just being lazy. And it just kept gradually increasing. And then I started developing anxiety. Then I started developing, that was around the time I started developing acne. I was taking antibiotics for acne. I got the TB jab. I got a tick bite. And slowly but surely, all these symptoms started creeping up. We didn't have a clue what it was. My parents didn't have a clue. Doctor didn't have a clue. Then I crashed at 17, left college, was at home. I had aches, pains, fatigue, just felt awful. And then slowly but surely, symptoms started getting worse and worse to the point where I was sat in my chair and I'm like so fatigued, like even standing up made me dizzy. Then I had a huge stressor in my life in 2010 when my parents got divorced, and that was the easiest part of it. And I ended up living with my mom, alone at home with my mum, who had a mental breakdown, and I was in the home alone with her. That's all I'm really going to say on that topic, but it was really bad. So I had the stress, and that added more stress to my already deteriorated body. That then meant me developing symptoms of POTS, fibromyalgia, especially in my forearms and legs. Then I started getting like arthritis symptoms in my, especially in my wrists, knees, and shoulders. And then before I knew it, I was so weak and crippled and fatigued that even getting up the stairs was effort. And that's when I realized, like, I'm a man in my 20s and I'm this weak. My grandma's stronger than me. What is going wrong? And that's how it started for me. Like, it was like a combination: tick bite, poor diet, antibiotics, stress, TB jab. Who knows what caused it? I think it was amalgamation of things. But yeah, that's how long. 2004 was when that rugby match was. 2003, 2004, and then ever since then till 2015 when I recovered. Did you take small walks while you were ill? I was almost completely sedentary, and no, I only took it when I felt ready, and it took me a good 8-10 months before I started walking. Stefan is back. Where are you, Stefan? You hiding again? I was wondering about the story too. He's gone to do the lightning process. You know, I don't say that don't do the lightning process. I think that just being open-minded and trying things to help towards recovery, you know, getting rid of bad thought patterns now and again, like, you know, not dwelling on things. So I think that is beneficial to recovery. But these people that charge you 1-2 grand to learn how to stop bad thoughts, it's just so unfair to people because they're struggling and they want to try anything, and they're probably out of a job because they're so ill, and you're charging that kind of money. Insane. How did my parents treat me? They knew from my appearance and from how I was, they knew something was wrong, but they didn't know what it was. I didn't get a proper diagnosis, so they didn't really believe that there was something really wrong with me to the point where it was serious. They just knew something was wrong with me. So they kind of shrugged me off like, oh, he's tired. Like, who isn't tired? Everyone gets tired. They don't understand. People that don't go through it don't understand. But they did support me in the fact that they paid for my food and, you know, being in the house. So in that sense, it was supportive. But when I lived with my mum in 2010, it was incredibly detrimental and harmful to my health. It made me deteriorate at a fast, greater rate because I was so stressed. It's the stress. I'm sure I'll never get that stress again in my life. So environments are an important thing as well. But yeah, I'm going to close off this stream now. I'll answer a few more questions. I don't know if I buy into scaremongering. What do you think about mercury fillings? I think people that say that they got ill from 2 mercury fillings or a mercury filling are, yeah, I think it's scaremongering. I think that a lot of the time, if you have mercury removed, it can actually be more detrimental. I've heard people having full out chronic illnesses from just having them removed because the mercury leaches into the bloodstream at a much faster rate. You have to get someone that knows what they're doing. But yeah, I don't think that mercury fillings are the cause of an illness in their self. I think it's an amalgamation of things, like I always say. Do you think it's possible to recover if you can't get rid of stress in my life? My family situation is very bad and there's hardly anything I can do about it except hard to... I think you have to just kind of isolate yourself from them and try and deal the best you can if that's all you can do, because that's all you can do. But just make sure other aspects of your life are on point. Time to wind down. Yeah, good night, Poo to Wee to Browner. Night, Dextro. Night, Sarah. Yeah, the person, chiropractor I went to said she was the worst case of like muscle and neck tension she's seen in this area, the neck and the back and in here, in her career. I was atrocious. Do you still have IBS? No. Sorting out what you're putting in your body that's irritating your guts, probiotics, sorting out your like gut flora with and sorting out your sleep. Like, it's an amalgamation of things, Elvis. Like, I don't think you can take a pill just to cure IBS. I think getting out of fight or flight, getting out of bad food habits, sleeping properly, probiotics, all these things all help up and add up to getting rid of it. I get dry needling for the tension. It's very helpful. Yeah, if that helps you, that's great. Like, I did try acupuncture. I personally didn't feel that much difference from it, but I did feel much better from the massages of muscle knots. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll stop the video here and have a good night, guys.